What if I told you, some of the largest ancient monuments in North America are hiding in Florida, not in deserts, not in mountains, but in swamps, forest, and right off the side of the road. These aren't natural hills, they're engineered landscapes, built by native civilizations over thousands of years, and chances are, you've driven right past one without ever knowing it. Today, we're going to fix that. I went looking for something very specific, ancient ruins in Florida, not the kind locked behind glass in a museum, but real archaeological sites you can actually visit, walk through, stand on, experience. And what I found was unexpected, some of the largest ancient earthworks in North America, hidden across North and Central Florida, quietly sitting in state parks, preserves, and along the coast, while most of us drive right past them. Today, we're visiting 8 of the most impressive ones you can still see for yourself. So, let's go see them. If you want to understand how advanced these sites really were, this is where you start. Crystal River isn't just a mound, it's an entire planned ceremonial landscape, 6 mounds arranged around a central plaza, built and used continuously for nearly 1,000 years, from around 500 BCE to about 800 AD. Some of these were burial mounds, others were platform mounds, raised foundations where structures once stood, and the scale becomes clear when you realize, one of these mounds contains over 1 million cubic feet of shell and sand. That's not accidental, that's engineering. But what really changes how you see this place is what they found buried here. Copper artifacts, not local, but traced all the way back to the Ohio River Valley. Which means this wasn't an isolated coastal village. This was part of a trade network stretching across eastern North America, 2,000 years ago. Today, you can walk the boardwalk through the site, stand on the edges of these mounds, and look out across the same plaza where ceremonies once took place. Over 7,000 burials have been documented here, which means beneath the quiet surface of this park is one of the most important ceremonial centers in the entire Southeast. And you can just go there. Turtle Mound is the moment when this stops feeling like archaeology and starts feeling almost impossible. From a distance, it looks like a natural hill, but it's not. It's made almost entirely of oyster shells. 50 feet tall today, possibly closer to 75 feet when it was first built, 600 feet long along the edge of Mosquito Lagoon. Try to picture what that actually means. This wasn't built all at once, it grew slowly, over generations, every meal, every shell, every year adding another layer. What you're standing on at the top is a vertical timeline of daily life stretching back nearly 1,000 years. And the location isn't random. From here, you can see miles in every direction. The lagoon, the barrier islands, the Atlantic Ocean. Early European explorers even used this as a navigation marker from offshore. So this wasn't just a refuse pile, it was a landmark, a lookout, possibly even a ceremonial space. And today, a simple boardwalk lets you walk right to the top of it. Seminole Rest is quieter, but in some ways, even more powerful, because this site goes back further than almost anything else on this list, as early as 2000 BCE. What looks like a low, tree-covered rise is actually a massive shell midden, built up over thousands of years. At its peak, Snyder's Mound here stood about 18 feet high, covering several acres. Layer by layer. Clamshells, fish remains, pottery fragments, tools. The accumulated evidence of daily life. And then something unexpected happened. In the 1800s, settlers built houses directly on top of the mound, which should have destroyed it, but instead it protected it from being cleared or developed. Today, a short loop trail takes you through the site, and everything is preserved exactly where it was found. You're not looking at a reconstruction, you're walking over thousands of years of real human activity, compressed into the ground beneath you, and most people have no idea it's here. Hontoon Island feels like stepping into a different version of Florida. You don't drive here, you take a ferry across the St. Johns River. And once you arrive, the landscape starts to reveal what this place used to be, a long-term village site, occupied for centuries by the Tomoka and their ancestors. But unlike the coast, these mounds aren't made of oysters, they're made of freshwater snail shells. Thousands, maybe millions of them, built up over time into mounds reaching 15 to 20 feet high. Archaeologists have found pottery, tools, even carved wooden animal figures, which almost never survive in Florida's climate. Today, trails wind through the island, passing these mounds exactly where they were built. No barriers, no glass cases, just the landscape, and the remains of a community that once depended entirely on this river system. It's one of the few places where the setting still feels close to what it was. Weedon Island is where archaeology blends into the environment. This isn't a single site, it's an entire landscape filled with shell middens. Miles of boardwalk trails take you through mangroves, tidal flats and uplands, and scattered throughout are the remains of ancient habitation. From the observation tower, you can see why people settled here. Access to Tampa Bay, fishing, trade routes, everything you'd need to support a long-term community. The culture associated with this region became so distinctive, archaeologists named it after this place, the Weedon Island culture. And today, it's one of the easiest archaeological preserves to explore. Free, open, you can spend hours here, and still only see part of what's hidden in the landscape. Philippe Park might be the most unexpected sight of all, because it doesn't feel remote. It feels like a neighborhood park, and then you see it, a massive temple mound rising out of the grass, built around 1,000 years ago by the Tomoka people. This mound served as a platform, likely for structures tied to leadership or ceremony. Archaeologists found post holes on top, evidence of buildings that once stood here. A ramp once led down into a central plaza, where daily life unfolded for a community of hundreds, maybe thousands. And when Spanish explorers arrived in the 1500s, this is the kind of place they encountered. Organized, structured, established. Today, you can climb the same mound and look out over the same bay, which makes this one of the clearest connections between past and present on the list. Lake Jackson is where everything scales up. This isn't just a site, it was a capital. 7 mounds arranged around a central plaza, part of a Mississippian chiefdom that controlled this region from around 1050 to 1500 AD. The largest mound rises over 50 feet, and, unlike shell middens, these were carefully constructed earthworks, built in stages, engineered for stability. This was a center of governance, ceremony, trade. Surrounding fields supported agriculture, including maize cultivation, which allowed for a more complex society. When this site was active, this wasn't wilderness, it was a functioning political system. Today, trails let you walk through the layout, following the same spatial design that defined the city centuries ago. I'm curious, why do you think sites like this, that you can actually visit, aren't more widely known in Florida? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I want to hear your take. Tomoka is different, less visible, but just as important. This was the site of Nokoroko, a Timucua village occupied for centuries. Some evidence here goes back thousands of years. What remains today are shell middens mixed with soil, the gradual buildup of daily life over long periods of time. Most of the original structures are gone, but the site is still here, marked, preserved, and accessible. It's a reminder that not every ancient place leaves behind massive monuments. Sometimes, it leaves quieter traces, and those can be just as important. These are real archaeological sites, not reconstructions, not replicas, and you can visit every one of them. If you're into places like this, real history, overlooked locations and stories hidden in plain sight, hit subscribe, drop a like, and follow Odyssey Atlas, because there's a lot more out there, and most people never even notice it.